Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Is your first official meeting?
I don't know.
Good morning, Mr.
It's your second.
It's your second? Okay. We'll review the minutes in January, at which point we'll review 2 sets of minutes.
Sounds good.
It's okay with me if it's okay with a law.
I invited someone named Beth Fittini, thank you, to join us today. If I don't know, we'll just, when she jumps in, we'll bring her in. Okay. One quick thing, and then we'll jump to ETIP, is there's a composting event at the library from 11 to 12 to essentially just introduce to residents the 3 types of composting. Backyard, and hopefully Tony Romano is going to come. I checked with him 2 days ago again and haven't heard back. If he doesn't show up, then I'll just cover for them. Ariel Gardner has agreed to come to talk about the Sylvester Manor program, and then Mary Morgan is going to come and do a food cycler demo. And that's from 11 to 12 on Saturday. You're not obligated to show up. Oh, but one thing I do want to ask Sarah and Don, do either one of you want to try out the food cycler? I've done a test and it's great. And I'd like to hand it off to the next person, Charity. Would you like to try it?
We're going to be away for about a week, so go ahead, Sarah.
I'm so devoted to my current system that I'm happy to just stay with that. But if you need someone to demo it,
I think.
Is this the little electric?
Yes, the one, the tabletop.
Yeah, that I was thinking of buying anyway.
Then while you're here,
Try it.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to be here until the end of the month.
Perfect.
great.
I'll bring it over to your house sometime in the next day or two.
We'll get
Good.
together. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I just wanted to try it.
I mean, I know we're all doing different things, but I think it's good just to have an inkling of how it works.
And this is
I'll do it if you
Just
need
do
a
it. Just do it for
this is
a
new.
couple of
This
cycles.
is all new to me anyway.
Well, it's new to all of us. I've never used it before.
But the whole concept, Jersey City, we just throw our garbage out the window.
No. Well, that's what I used to do in the city. Sometimes, literally.
In the city, we just put it outside the back door. Somebody
Manor-
takes it, I think. I don't know.
The Manor gave out a few more green buckets at the library fair last weekend, and
Oh, good.
and those buckets are filling up just beautifully.
So you
Its
think
bins are full every time I go, like way over full. Like yesterday, I had to remove some squashes in order to make room for some very wet garbage.
Okay. They're trying to stay right on top of it.
I
but-
guess I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful problem to have.
Yes,
It's 4
it is.
meetings next
It is, and
month.
we're taking in a lot of leaves as well.
3 E-tip.
I mean, what I discovered
Balance it.
after 2 weeks of using the food cycler is that
Month is
just produced too
filling up.
much stuff.
Right.
So the Sylvester Manor bucket is the way to go for us.
I see. So it's sort of for lower veg food scrap
Yes.
households.
Yes.
Or people who are only here for a few days and then they go.
Weekend.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Because then you turn it on the night before you leave and then you can,
Yeah.
until you're done. And
Yeah.
so you've done your composting.
Does it go off automatically?
It does.
If it's done. So you could actually
Yeah.
do it when you leave the house to go back.
And I would like to try it. I just didn't. You got me at a bad time. I couldn't.
No, when
When I get back
you
from
get
Reno,
back,
I'll
just
I'll
try it. Just try it
Yeah.
for 3 days or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will do
And you try it for a week or so, whatever you want to.
My current efforts have more to do with the behavioral changes that need to take place in our.
Yes, you do. You need a compost intervention.
We do.
Oh, and Ariel said that she'd only had 1 plastic bag in there so far. So people are
Are being good.
being
That's great.
Okay. I know the one thing I keep is the labels. It's like, I
Oh, the stickers.
have to go back and remove orange labels.
You know what's a good strategy for that is when you unpack from the grocery store, take off the labels.
Oh, yeah, that is a good way.
Well,
And then they
Yep.
look prettier anyway.
Mm-hmm.
sure we can make a whole display of them. The labels, I mean. Anyway, so there's that. And then on January 19th, we're repeating a symposium that we had last year, where all the representatives from the 5 East End towns come out. And we have an update on composting efforts in the 5 East End towns on January 19th from 1 to 3 at the library.
These are all going to be in the newspaper.
Yes, I mean, the thing is, we really don't have room for the public at that because we're going to have, like last year, we had a full house.
Could it be zoomed for the public, maybe? Is that
How do
hard?
they have the capability to Zoom from the library?
I mean, some people are going to zoom in anyway. We could do something, but
But it would have to be Zoom only for the public, because otherwise we're too full.
yeah.
Zoom
What
only
happens
and
at
no
the-
participation, just observing.
So,
I mean, we could always just record it and then have it posted.
I mean, what I was thinking was, speaking for charity.
so this, just, yes, say what you were thinking.
Well, I was thinking that charity, if you're here the 19th, you could attend and then do another article.
Yeah.
That would sort of do a composting article.
Yeah. Especially if, I mean, I haven't been to this symposium before, so I don't know what the structure is, but is it structured so that there are the 5 East End towns each report?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they'll do presentations.
Yeah.
And some will do it on Zoom, and then others will do it in person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they each get 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and then there'll be a Q&A afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it worked last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see maybe, recording the Q&A, and I think the chances of people wanting to, to watch presentations from the 5 East End towns maybe some people who are already composting will, but if the purpose is to.
It's really not a public event.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not sure. I think that writing about it afterwards is a better way
That's
to
what I
let people know.
That's what I thought it could
Yeah.
be another report.
Who actually is organizing it? Is it
Who's organizing it? Myself, Mary Morgan, and Mark Hubner. We did it last year. So it, and 25 people came, and it was very helpful to learn what other towns are doing. And like Riverhead is doing a whole new thing. We're adding a new component to what they're doing. They're having street pickup.
the representatives from the other towns, are they similar to us, that is volunteers? or
Yes and no.
combination?
Yes and no. Some are part of green committees or composting groups, or they're all different. Some are nonprofits, but they're all sort of, but they are sort of part of all this. They are working with the towns. So it's not as if they're operating independently and
Right.
trying to get the town on board. Like Riverhead is actually working on all this with different groups. So.
Who's presenting for us?
Let's see, last year Sarah and I went, but Sarah, you're busy, I can do it. I mean, I'll be there anyway. But,
Yeah, I mean, Ariel may want to
or
participate.
Ariel may want to come too.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
Mhm. I mean, she has, having done the aerated static pile, and she has it all figured out in her head how
I
she's
think
going to.
I think it'd
grow the
be great if
program.
Ariel could come. 'Cause I certainly can't speak to all that stuff.
Yeah, maybe you could sort of lay it out a little bit and email to her and me.
Okay.
Great.
PowerPoint style presentations?
What's that?
PowerPoint style?
Some will do
There is a
PowerPoint
screen,
style.
Yeah.
Some will be zooming in and doing their PowerPoints. Others just get up and talk about what they're doing.
Is there a package that comes out at the end? Maybe you said that.
There wasn't last year. But, we could do a sort of a summary of all of it. We could do it that way. Anyway, I'll send out more stuff as we get closer with more information. Coco, could you do me a favor? Could you try emailing Beth at Green Inside Out and Greenside Inside green inside and out.
Okay, I did do that before.
Yeah, and I thought it was a mistake.
Oh, I made the wrong mistake? The wrong.
No. She sent me green inside out and out.
Oh, okay.
And I
sure.
thought that was a mistake, but maybe that is the correct email.
Let me double check.
But then I emailed her last night to just out, and it didn't bounce back. So I don't know. And she said she has to be somewhere at 9:30. So, okay, let's jump back to.
Green inside and out at gmail.com
Yeah.
is what I had from her, but in January.
.org.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, the website is .org, but the email
Okay,
is
try .com.
gmail.com.
Okay, her full name or just,
It's just Beth at green inside and out, AND out.com.
No,
At gmail.com.
no.
At gmail.com.
Coco, try the name of the organization. Forget her name. Green inside and out at gmail.com.
Okay.
Try that.
great.
Okay, that's different from what she sent me. We'll try it.
Yeah, they've got, right, you probably saw it, they've got the website.
Maybe she got tied up. Okay. Okay, we'll jump back into ETIP. I think I actually was sort of sharing actually before yesterday's meeting, Sarah's concern about having just an hour. It just seems like it does go very fast, but then also I feel like we all have to really stick to the program very tightly if we have an hour. And try not to jump around in too many sidebars. I know they're interesting, but I think we should try an hour in January and see how it goes. And if we feel that it's not enough time, we could think about or talk about.
Yeah, I would say, and it was brought up before, to the extent that we can get their input, notes, questions, etc., further in advance than the day
Yes.
before, that gives us a chance to prepare better in our thoughts and questions, and also in reading the thoughts and questions that they have, if they can, maybe focus it a little more and be a little more, organized and focused on the questions that they're asking from us. Because, when I read it, just my opinion, it was, there was a whole bunch of questions about energy and things, and they all sort of, ran together. I think if they have specific questions, they need to, focus on the questions. That will help also, and it'll help us stay more disciplined and focused as well.
Yeah, no, I know. And Kate was aware of that. She apologized for the fact that we got it a day ahead of time. And she understands that we need much more time.
Right. And also, a lot of these questions are going to require input from people beyond us,
Yes,
CSE&G, or maybe the town. So there's going to be...
it's going to take time.
Right.
And maybe this is overboard, I'm sorry, but the answers to the questions that we are preparing, I would like to see that in writing, at least bullet points.
Oh, yes.
Okay, not just
Oh, no.
not just a verbal
No.
summary during the meeting.
No, this should all be written out and sent to them.
Bullet points.
Before-
We can answer bullet points.
Right.
Ideally, we would, yes, I absolutely agree with you. And we should be able to send that to them a couple days before the meeting, so they're able to review it. And then,
So that way everyone can read it, review it. If they have questions or comments, respond. We just have
Yes.
a meeting, at least everybody's on the same page.
yes. And I appreciate your jumping in, Meg, with trying to take on all those questions, but we need to
Yeah.
share this.
No, absolutely. So
So I just wanted you to be I didn't want you to think that we're expecting you.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
One of the things I was thinking, are you guys comfortable with SharePoint? I don't know if you
Well,
are, but.
I hate it, but I am comfortable with it.
Because what I did do was take all of the questions from the email, put it into a SharePoint Word document so everyone can write on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just share that with everybody. So,
The Google Docs for eTip, I think, works better, in my opinion.
I'm having trouble accessing it.
May I help out at some point?
Yeah, she's tried to give me permission multiple times to edit it, and I just cannot get in to edit. I wanted to add a whole bunch of documents that I have. I haven't been able to do it, but I'll try again.
Geeks are us.
I'll let you know, Don, if she can't give me access to edit, because that's the problem. I can read, but I can't edit.
Meg,
Okay.
a workaround could be for you not to use your town email, as much as I sort of don't love that solution, but.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's the .gov that
Mhm.
has a block of some kind.
Yeah. So I'll try.
Although I'm in through my
Everybody's in
.gov.
through their town email. So I'll
Yeah.
work it out with them.
Aren't we supposed to use town email?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
That's the problem.
Otherwise,
Well,
my personal
eTip-
gets spoiled.
Yeah, right. I was struck by the emphasis, even by the lab guy, on the importance of the communication side of things. And I wondered
Yes.
if Charity had any
Yeah, no,
thoughts on that.
I noticed that. Yeah, I do have thoughts about it. I don't know if there's anything that we need to implement right now, but I think that my thinking on how to communicate is evolving. I mean, for one thing, I think there was a great, Sarah, I think you put me onto the Climate Coach, which is a Washington Post column about climate. It's really excellent communication. And there was actually a column recently in that column about communicating about green matters with communities, specifically with, to get community action. Very interesting. And it really is, Tim and I were talking about it when we were talking about how to communicate about the composting. And I really think that it has to do with communicating with people about what their neighbors are doing already, about what people's experiences are. So yesterday it came up when we were talking about helping people make a transition to solar or install buy an EV, what's involved in that. And sort of the knee-jerk response, knee-jerk is not the right word, but your immediate response as someone who has a lot of information is to share that information. Oh, well, we've got government websites that'll tell you exactly how to do that. And do you know anyone who's done that? Well, yeah, it didn't go that well, but so I think we need to communicate more on the level of here's what happened with Christina when they put in, when they tried to plug in, and here are some things that they wish they'd done differently. And that was very much the way that the Climate Coach was handling issues. Like there was a really great article recently on heat pumps, on installing heat pumps. And he basically told the story of his attempt to, install a heat pump furnace system. And, I think that stories like that are a much better way to communicate if you want to get action in the community. Now, for other kinds of action, voting, and, maybe we communicate differently. But I do think that when it comes to things like trying to get people to compost, trying to get people to think about buying an electric vehicle, trying to get people to think about rewiring their house, or if they're doing a renovation, what they should be, planning for to make their home more, efficient.
Make it relatable.
Right.
That's great. That makes a lot of sense. It's interesting because I was a little, Brian had a lot of personal anecdotes to share during the meeting. And in light of what you're just saying, I can see why he took that approach and, that can be effective. Just, this is what happened to me.
It has to be relatable for the public. If it's something that's new to them, they can't relate to it. But they can relate to, plugging something in and having things go funny. So if you can explain it to in a way where it's relatable, they can understand it, they can apply it to something that's happened in their life in some other fashion.
Yeah,
there's another issue with that, because you have people. I think I noticed this with some of the nitrate reducing systems when that was first rolled out, you had sort of people who were excited to do this and went right in and got burned, and there were things that they didn't anticipate, and the tax thing and could go on, and I think that it had a chilling effect on rolling those systems out, because you had people, what they'd heard, the printed information that just sounded great, but their neighbors who had tried this did not have a good experience. And I think that can really, that can kind of kill a program if you don't pay attention to that.
First, the personal anecdotes are really important. The relatable aspects are really important. I've done large-scale, programs. And what's new now, I think my perception is that, climate change and how we respond to climate change is very much becoming a battle for hearts and minds. Because, the carbon industries are geared up and very well funded for their communications efforts as well. And, it's going to be really important for people to believe in this. And it's not just some, modern day tree huggers. But the tree huggers back in the 70s or
I still try to plant an occasional tree.
Yeah. So it's a battle for becoming a battle for hearts and minds.
It's a media, it's a communication.
Right. So it is really important, and you're absolutely right. We got to be telling them the truth, and we got to be giving them good information. Okay. All those things are important. I think I already mentioned what my mantra was from running large scale. I did energy conservation programs, and then later on I did load management programs, demand response. And this was back in the 80s, and in New Jersey. And by the way, the New Jersey Shore is still demographically similar to Suffolk County in certain ways. And, we would speak to people like adults, tell them the truth, explain it to them, without jargon, and then, tell them what we want them to do. And if it all makes sense for people and they relate to it like that, you'll get enough participation.
I know it's fraught, like you were saying, the hearts and minds piece, but I think it's worth noting that COP28 in Dubai ended with this call to transition away instead of phase out, but transition away is better than phase down from fossil fuels in energy systems in a just, orderly, and equitable manner, accelerating action in this critical decade so as to achieve net zero by 2050 in keeping with the science. So that's the statement that the entire world agreed to adopt. So I think that's significant, in keeping with the science and, and transitioning away. So, yeah.
I do think that the general public, though, has a hard time relating to that. I mean, the sentiment is accurate, but I think that they have a hard time relating.
In the day-to-day.
Yeah, in the day-to-day
lives.
life. So, I think part of what we're doing with ETIP is trying to set the island up for success in the future as things go more electric, right? So as the state rolls down new regulations, as people are getting electric vehicles and hooking them into our grid, we know that we have some antiquated infrastructure that's going to make it more challenging. So part of what we're trying to do is set ourselves up for success and not failure. Set ourselves up to have more reliable service and more reliable quality of service than as we add load to the grid, weakening our quality or undermining our consistency and reliability. So I think that's really kind of what we're aiming to do with ETIP. And I think that's the important thing to convey to the community, because federally rules are going to change, the state's rules are going to change, the building code is going to change, and all these things are going to increase the demand for electric. So we're trying to be kind of ahead of the curve and preparing for that, because we know it's coming. It's already been stated, laws have already been passed, so it's a matter of implementing.
People love reliability. I think that's a great word.
Yeah, well,
to focus
reliability
on.
and safety. I mean, we're just one garage fire away from not having any new EVs on the island. I mean, we need to make sure that, that the early adopters are, have a good experience.
Most people don't realize that the largest piece of their electric bill is reliability, not energy. Energy is still relatively cheap on a per unit basis, on a per kilowatt hour basis. What they're paying for is reliability. And the two, I was glad to hear you say that, the two highest priorities still have to be, I recognize the imperative of cost, but the two highest priorities still have to be reliability and safety, okay, and not in that order, reliability and safety. So, that's the energy component, still about 5 or 6 cents per kilowatt hour, plus or minus, and, on a generalized basis, but reliability and safety, because without reliability, especially now with everything going electric, there's no water or no composting now if we have electric composters, okay? No transportation, no communication ultimately. So, reliability going forward is going to be even more important.
I wonder, a couple of years ago, we tried to do something called green tips, which were, and I wonder if we should revive something like that, where you can take on one subject. They can be either really short or, instead of trying to tackle a bunch of things at once in one article, you take on one topic.
Oh yeah, I don't think we should try to.
No, I know you
do
weren't
a bunch
applying
of,
that, but I'm
yeah.
just, but.
People will feel hectored.
When they feel hectored, they're tuned out.
Also, I have to say, one thing that's interesting, and I don't know if you all, this is a question. I have gotten some negative and pushback to the term green.
Hearts and minds.
What, I mean, specifically?
Climate change is just that term has become
Any specific
Yeah.
objections?
I do. I don't know if we want to get into this right now. It's sort of, this may be, we've mainly talked about communication in this meeting, and now we're about to dive deep. So I don't know if you want to go here. I think maybe we should all think about that for a week and then talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the other towns call it their, Energy and Sustainability Committee, or, I don't think any other town uses green.
Southampton does.
They use the word green.
And I haven't, so there's this meme, one of these internet memes, it's been on Facebook, it's been around since 2011. It's an essay written by who knows who, it's lost in the mist of time, but it gets shared a lot. And it's the person walks into a grocery store and is chided by the clerk for not having a bag, I think, and don't you know it's now you're not very green or something like that, or it's now the green. And so then the person writing it goes into a diatribe, a rant, which is actually beautifully written and very moving about, my generation, she says we weren't green, and she's absolutely right. But we walked to school, and we
did waste.
We composted everything, and just on and on and on. And the writer is absolutely right. And I think what this thing shows is that there's some people have negative feelings. Some people have negative feelings about this sort of us and them,
Being told they're not green.
Yeah, and that the term green
Like Christina's trying to
is
get
in
to
some
the meeting.
nature
You know about that?
like the term woke. It's like, you're green and you're woke and you're.
I guess so. From our standpoint, we've never tried to tell people what to do.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
We want to educate people.
Yes.
But we've never sort of tried to.
Yeah, no, I'm not suggesting that.
No,
this is anything.
I know. So I
that
guess in my mind, that I mean, we can think about if people think that it's that there's sort of a negative attachment to the word, that we can.
Yeah, I wasn't even necessarily saying that we should try, even contemplate renaming the committee. That is not my argument.
Mhm.
I think it's something that we need to be sensitive to, that there's a.
And I'm not sure we'll have the answer to that. It's very important, and I'm not sure we're going to have the answer to that now or at this meeting. But I think you're absolutely right. Our image, or the Green Options Committee image, is something that, as our profile gets higher and higher, we need to be more concerned about.
It is options, Green Options Advisory Committee.
Okay?
So, we're not saying green, I don't know.
We're just, green has certain connotations. I understand.
But, we're about options and we're about educating and advising. So,
Stephen Waring is.
Yeah.
but I understand what you're saying.
I am not arguing to rename the committee.
No, I know. But, the idea of if you did something along the lines of green tipsing, again, it wouldn't be about shaming people. It's about educating people and suggesting things to
Yes,
people.
it would be, but it may not be it may not be. I think we need to be careful in the way that
It's
we
misperceived.
use that
It may
word.
not be received.
Yeah.
Yes, it may not be received.
But I think
Yeah.
If it's like a certain column, it could always be something like the living tips, something like that. Or, I don't know, it's gonna be something consistent.
or you can
It
put
could
in
be
your
my journey with compost.
yeah, or someone's journey with having an EB, and
Yes.
or, that kind of thing.
Yes.
To be more personal and more, and not so much to this. This is what we need to do,
Yes.
which. Because years ago, somebody, I don't know if they were on the committee or not, but they wanted us to do something publicly to shame. And I said, no, we're not doing that. It's not what we're about, and we don't do that. And it doesn't work well.
It gives you a very negative reaction.
Quite the opposite. It blows up in your face, and it's just not. It's not something that.
I wonder if Beth's also having trouble getting into the meeting. Do we want to talk about?
There's probably wrong Zoom link, so Coco's fixing it. I'm trying to work
on it.
Well, she had to leave at 9:30.
Should we talk about
to her,
this?
she'll come in
Yeah,
January.
So, are we ready to move on from ETIP and from communication? Anything else about that? Okay, so
But on ETIP,
yeah.
as I've suggested, I'd like to start answering some of these questions that they have.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I've been doing some research concerning the landfill solar. And say, be prepared to answer, at least on the 10th, as I said.
Well, yeah, but, again, some of this information may be available from within the town
Yeah, well,
already, but some of it we're gonna need to get from PSE.
of course, Steve. But
Yeah,
let's
and
begin
between
at
now
least
and the
with what we
10th.
can.
Yeah,
Of
sure,
course.
but it may be ambitious, is what I'm saying. If
We're
we
not
need
going to
get-
have the final answers, but let's begin.
Sure.
Well, I mean, we can quickly do this. Dawn, since you want to do the solar and the landfill,
I've started on it,
we'll
but
give you that one.
okay, sure.
Sarah, you already sent an email to PSC&G.
I did.
See if you can figure out who we should communicate with in that organization. We can put you in charge of that.
Yeah, and Jamie emailed me during the meeting to say he'd be happy to reach out to the guy. So
Perfect.
we agreed that if I haven't heard back from him by the end of the week, Jamie will go after him directly.
Excellent. Okay. Then Tim, do you want to do organic waste at the landfill? Because you have a relationship with Brian, you can just ask him I'm sure he knows volumes.
Mhm.
And then what else do we have on here? Well, community engagement, we've started talking about a little bit. Charity, you want to brainstorm some of the community engagement ideas?
Sure. Yeah, I guess Tim and I have already started that, but yes.
Beans. And then, let's see, I already looked into resilience hubs a little bit.
What's that, Meg?
I looked into resilience hubs a little bit already, and I kind of know our emergency management plan, so I can do that part.
Christina's with us now if you want to give her a job.
Yeah.
Hi, Christina.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, I just couldn't get into the Zoom call.
It's my fault.
Yeah.
My fault. Sarah, I'm going to leave you with Sylvester Manor, because you know that inside and out.
Maybe I'll stay in touch with Jamie then on his communications with PSC&G.
Jamie?
Cook.
Yeah.
Jamie Cook, isn't he?
He's going to do the outreach to PSCG once the
Right.
contact is established.
Okay.
Steve, I think that's a good one for you.
Okay, so I'll make sure you're looped in on those, Steve.
Right.
Is
PSC&G, by the way, is actually New Jersey-based, and
Yeah.
they're my utility in Jersey
Speak
City
the
and
same language.
speak the same language.
I was
We used to say we eat the same bagels.
Okay. What else was
I
on
think they
the?
do my sister's utility in California.
PSC&G, no.
No, that must be, and I think that's a different Southern
that's
California utility.
Thanks.
Another
Yeah.
P.
Yeah, but they were sort of
Yeah,
our sister
something
utility
similar.
in Jersey.
What else do we have?
Yeah,
Would it be helpful? I'm happy to work on PSEG too. We've talked to them in the past. I mean, different,
okay,
departments.
I'll put you in those threads as well.
I think the more people
Once
working
I
on
get-
getting PSC&G to give us information, the better.
Once I get the connection established, I'm not going to pursue that because I don't.
As long as
know
they're
anything about
not talking to too many people and it gets confused.
Right, just until we get a response, and then we can have a specific group that just sits down with and
Okay.
provides information, which should probably be Brian and Jamie and one or two of us, I would think.
Yeah, Christina and Steve have raised their hands.
Okay. And what else was on the list?
That sort of covers it. I mean, there's a lot of smaller questions within the chunk, but if you take your chunk and look at your smaller questions, you'll see.
And when
One of
you-
the real bright moments for me in the meeting yesterday was the beginning the discussion about aged infrastructure and the things that can be done, completely apart from everything else to bring us up to speed. That would, it seems to me, very, possible that there's the either IRA or bipartisan infrastructure laws would have some support for that if we're coming in competing for federal funding and we have this ETIP stamp on everything. That's certainly going to give us a leg up in getting those funds, I would think. So that's exciting.
So when you talk about resilience, are you also talking about the investigating on uneven energy?
All of it.
All
yeah.
of that. Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So we asked some of those questions. I think I gave them to you for the comp plan,
Yeah.
but that was only kind of scratching the
Right.
surface. Getting down to it to the level of detail with PSC&G and the individual circuits on this island. It's not just about the undersea, the links to the island. It's about, and by the way, there are further backup from those links. There are reliability issues
Right.
on the island. But even here on the island, where should we be focusing our efforts in encouraging more solar and things like that? We need to understand, at a more granular level, what reliability and resilience looks like in individual circuits and locations on the island.
And also, I think, like looking long-term, because I'm always looking multiple. So if we do reach full build-out, which comp plan says would be another 500 homes on the island, should that happen, can our infrastructure handle it? How would it impact that? Looking at that, and then you also add, electric cars on top of that. You add, more heat pump systems. You add different things that feed into the grid, more solar. How is our old infrastructure going to handle it?
Right, and
Ryan poles. How's it going to work?
And our goal is to also, make our sources of energy more, I hate to use the term green, but, we want more renewables. It's not just reliability, but our priority is also, cleaner air and things like that. So, targeting those efforts, we need good information, granular information, and PS should have that, but, we can develop it too.
Continuing, now that we've got these assignments, I think they should be put right here on the page with our names.
Yes.
Thank you. And, okay, great.
In the Google folder.
Correct.
Question that came to me yesterday during our meeting, but I didn't think it was the time to ask it, and that is to what extent there was I think, Meg, you said something about, when there was a question from the ETIP folks about grants, how we plan to fund, and you said yes, grants, and you said something about, but grants need to be basically shovel ready, in order to apply. Are we expecting, or do we have reason to expect support from ETIP in getting shovel ready?
I think that they will be able to give us enough information to support the application for a grant. That's kind of the goal of the program, is to give you like a very well-defined project scope, which is what you need in order to go and apply for most grants. Different grants have different requirements. Some of the grants will actually help pay for you to do the design. Some of them are just like, you have a design, let's put it in the ground, let's implement. So it depends on the grant specifically, but I think that they can give us enough information to be able to move forward with a lot of grant options.
But that's a good question. Will they be doing any design documents at all, or is it all going to be conceptual and narrative?
Well, let's go.
That's a question.
That's a question for them, but some of these processes.
I don't know. Also, some of these grants also involve identifying, the entities that will be doing the actual work, right?
Right. Engineering firms, construction firms.
People, and some of these things that we may want to do or not. I mean, we may not know who does that kind of work.
And
we may need that support.
But that kind of development can go on in parallel with the ETIP.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not a timing issue. I'm just
next year or so.
What can we reasonably, expect from? Is that something that we can reasonably expect from them? And I certainly hope so, because this is expertise I think that we need, right?
Yeah, but this is again a good segue to Lisa at the county. She rattled off, all the projects that they've actually got going. The developer who did the canopies over the parking at the county in Hauppauge, and in other places. And although her job is to do this resilience and clean energy transition for government facilities, the experiences that she's gained and the knowledge she's gained helping other municipalities to do their thing is invaluable. So we could, in other words, call her up and ask her for the name of like 4 solar developers that we could get proposals from for the landfill or for parking lots or whatever. She is, absolutely jazzed about what we're doing, wants to help us. She will come out here again. So that's where we can, where the rubber meets the road, is that we have ready access and expertise about what has been actually done in Suffolk County that could be done here. So I think
we also have an excellent grant writer for the town. She works for the town, and her job is specifically to find us grants. She does an excellent job. So we can partner with her as well. So
It might be good to have her
So
to
we
a
have
meeting
some, we have
a little farther down.
some resources, but
Yeah.
but you know,
We'll have to work at it.
yeah, we'll have to work at it, and there may be expertise that, you know, there may be projects that we want to do that have not been done in the county previously, and and
Meg, has the town hired a firm for the facilities master plan?
not yet. I mean, we have,
Or have you done an RFP?
we've done a consult with a company that does it for municipalities already. But we are putting together an RFP.
Okay, well, there might be some little bullet points you want to put in the RFP that relate back to this specifically, so they're aware of the ETIP angle to what they'll bring to the table.
Sarah, does everybody know who Lisa is?
Lisa Broughton is the Suffolk County Energy Director, and she was on the East End for the plugging in of the windmills off of Montauk last week. And Tim and I met up with her at the library. She thought it took a lot longer to get to Shelter Island than it did. Not super familiar with it. So she had a bunch of time at the library to pull up a whole bunch of tabs online and show us a variety of things, which she then sent in an email. Has that gone out to everybody?
No, but I'll forward it to everybody. I just want everybody to know who she was before I did that. And she's a pistol.
Yeah.
I mean, she
She's been
was
doing this for what, 13 years?
Yeah, but she just was brimming with energy and ideas and things that they've done. So she'll be a resource for us.
Great.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a mission for her.
And she wants to do it. She's to help us.
Great.
So maybe she should come to the next meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, and she also connected us with the
And the next green, not ETIP. Or what?
No, to our green meeting. I mean, Sarah has talked about having her join ETIP on a regular basis or an occasional basis.
No, when our consultants think it's helpful or when we think it's helpful. But she also connected us with the person at NYSERDA, who is, I think they have the word innovation in their title. I just want to look that up. And we haven't followed up with that person either. So, there's all kinds of resources to get it from pure concept to actual potential shovel ready, or at least design. NYSERDA resource is Ian Latimer, and his job is Senior Project Manager, Clean Energy Siting and Innovation. So he'll be another one who can also potentially help us navigate with LIPA. LIPA has a division. The initials are PAM, P-A-M. I don't remember what it stands for, but that's the body that's that reviews all major renewable projects that are seeking to feed into the grid. So, they have a fair amount of bureaucracy there, and I think, they may not always try to make it easier than whatever they're used to.
Okay, so why don't I'll contact her today, see, because, so speaking of our meeting in January, I think you've all agreed that the 25th is an okay day to meet? Everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll meet on January 25th. I was in touch with Lynn Arthur this week to see if she wanted to drop in and say anything. She said, no, she's not ready. I'll check in again in January to see if she wants to come by. I think it would be appropriate to ask Lisa to come in January.
Yeah, it sounds like, this is a perfect network already of East End people and organizations that are very much in alignment. And I know Lynn is very much supportive of that. And
actually, they know each other.
No doubt. Yeah. But I'm just saying we need to be more organized because, I hate to say it, but the opposition will be is becoming more organized as well.
But also it's we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So the more people we contact who have sort of gone through a lot of things and accomplished things, is helpful to us.
Meg, I have a question. Lisa's email about Ian Latimer at NYSERDA said that he contacted her asking about contacts in Suffolk's 10 towns, and that she mentioned this project. He asked that she make an introduction. And do you want to be the first one to reach out to Ian, or would you like one of us to do that? Because they're looking for, it sounds like he was looking for some.
One person in the town, you can give him my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I
Or
received-
the,
That, you're on that
Karen
email
from,
from the
the
4th of
committee.
December.
Can we do both,
Yeah, we can do
Meg
two.
and me?
yeah.
Yeah, or I'd be happy to
Or if you
do it.
want to do it, then
Yeah.
you do it.
I'll reach out to.
If we need to work with him on an ongoing project or something, that's something else. But for the contacts,
Well, I think I'll start by literally just giving him a call, finding out what he can do or what he's looking
Okay.
for, and then get him in touch with you, me, and Tim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, I'll look for that email. Give him my email.
Could I just add to that? I think it would be good to ask him to point us in the direction of some materials that they've got, just so that we can do a little research and inform ourselves about what the possibilities are. The question I have as we're thinking about talking to PSCG is that the utilities, generally speaking, in the United States, they are not very happy with rooftop solar distributed energy projects because it takes business away from them. I think the dynamic might be very different since LIPA is actually publicly owned. It's just managed by PSEG. So it may not affect their business model, but I really don't know. And that would be a question to ask the fellow from NYSERDA if he has some insight into how to work with the utility on build out of distributed energy.
yeah, I have to say in response, number one, Christina, you're absolutely right as a general point, but, having spent a career on the inside of the belly of the beast, I can also say that, to a reasonable and maybe to a large extent, we would be natural allies of PSEG because, for instance, again, if the summer peak out here is, more than 3 times the winter peak, they know that that is a difficult issue going forward, particularly with the additional load that's going to be added and electric vehicles, and also to the extent that, reliability is something they're very sensitive to. And so, we need to be looking for areas that we can work together on as well. There are going to be differences too, to be sure, but they're natural allies. When you're talking about reliability, we said earlier, the 2 biggest priorities are reliability and safety. So, we need to be in alignment to the extent that we can and work together to the extent that we can.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I
Chair.
agree with you. I agree with you. I just want to.
I'm not being an apologist
Yeah.
for the utility
I
industry. I fought my battles on the inside.
Okay, Charity has to leave at 10. I think Sarah has to leave at 10. So anybody have anything? So what I'll do is I'll send out to everybody this list, just so we all have it. And
Those are the assignments. The assignments.
the assignments,
Okay.
if you wish to, submission impossible,
Your mission, should you choose to
should
accept
choose to
it.
accept it. And I understand, Don, your concern that by the 3rd, we may not have made much progress. But I think whatever progress we do make may raise some questions, which we can talk to them about. So I don't think the 3rd would be a waste of our time.
Okay.
Okay. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Well, just old and new business. Remember, you don't have to have a green bucket to bring your scraps to Sylvester Manor's food scraps collections.
Oh,
So everybody in town is welcome to do that.
Maybe that's why it's so full.
Totally unrelated. Well, they now, of course, are accepting number 5s, as you saw.
Oh, yes.
And it's 2s and 5s. I hope it's being properly sorted.
Plus 2s and 5s, right? Oh, 2s and 5s go in the same
2s
bin.
and 5s go in the same bins.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so we talked about this. Can this go? Who would I contact? Who's doing Facebook and Instagram now for the town? Coco?
Christina and Coco.
Okay. So maybe you and I just want to come up with a really pithy thing that can go up on the town Instagram
About
and
the
Facebook.
2s and 5s?
Yeah. So we didn't recycle 5s until recently.
Right.
Now we can.
That's great news.
And they combine with 2s. 1s are still the same by themselves.
I have to tell you, the markings have become, in a lot of cases, just
Impossible.
Yeah, it would be good to
Well,
people just,
when we got a survey from New York State,
Have a handheld magnifier at the recycling
honest to
center.
God,
and
even then,
that was one of my first comments to New York State was that these companies have to make these
yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
well, why don't we go to the IGA and look under some plastic and take some pictures and do it that way.
No,
Did you buy these tomatoes at the IGA? Well, you need to put that in the number 5.
no, but it's also, I wanted to contact the companies. If you want us to
Right.
recycle, then make those numbers bigger.
The pressure has to go to the companies. You know,
Yeah, no, but in the meantime,
Huh?
Tell them they're not ADA compliant.
Right. I can see Charity cooking up a funny article on this. I think that would be great.
yeah, because a lot of people feel the
Actually,
same.
if you, I think we should just have a report or two about number 5. So if you want to make that your next one.
what is number 5 anyway?
and make it a fun article, the fact that it's really hard to see,
It is.
which I've also pointed out when I've done previous recycling articles, but it doesn't hurt to repeat.
Yeah, it's a good idea. All right. I've got a column.
And the big
coming
thing
up.
is cleaning, which Meg and I have talked about too.
Right, that too, yeah.
That's a really crucial thing.
Clean your garbage.
Yeah, it's worthless. If people bring
Actually,
dirty plastic,
my dog
it's
is
worthless.
very good at cleaning garbage.
Yes, I have one of those.
Yeah.
But it takes water. And so what I did was I have a small bucket. As I clean it, I just keep using that water. And they take the water outside and put it back to the earth.
You are,
On your compost pile.
And I'm exceptionally green.
you will win the Kermit the Frog
That's right.
Clean Award of the Year.
I tried to justify using water to clean plastic, and I just thought, okay.
Yeah. Try getting that peanut butter out of the damn
That
container. That
an
is the worst.
Let it soak, just
Yeah.
let it soak
I
overnight.
have overnight.
That's what dogs are for.
And if it's a scrub rub.
That's an exception.
Okay.
That'll keep a
Motion
dog
to
busy
adjourn.
for a while.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
We stand adjourned.
Bye.
I said, bye, Christine.